Picks and bans time. Let's see what it's going to be. I'm guessing we're going to have a Lucian band in there somewhere.
The Najin organization, too, suffered some pretty intense humiliation after not making it to the playoffs in the last season of Champions Summer.
Definitely did, yeah.
And even though they made up for it a bit by winning NLB, they've got to get back up to playing at the level that we all know they're capable of achieving. I mean, they made the semifinals at the World Championship, but here in Korea, they've struggled for about 6 months.
Yeah. Well, Lee Sin and Rumble, the first two bands to come out. Of course, nearly every Korean jungler, a fantastic Lee Sin player.
Now,
of
this
course,
is
Acorn, a great
interesting.
Rumble.
Samsung Blue on blue side banned Lucian, and it was their first pick in both games of their last series against the KT Bullets.
You would really think they'd at least wait until their final ban.
Well, they obviously have something very clearly in mind for tonight, and this is getting me pretty excited.
Well, this has got to throw Sword a bit, too. They go through with the Nidalee ban, just because you should on red side right now, but, there's Annie ban. Okay.
Okay, so the last ban here, certainly they were probably planning to take out that Lucian, and now there's a little bit of a delay here. I think their ban plans got a little messy, so they're contemplating their other options. Now, Rumble, again, not a champion you want to let Acorn have. He's pretty dominant when it comes to that top lane Rumble, and Kassadin take it out.
All right, well, Kassadin, as we've seen, is still pretty strong in the immediate Elise pick, so definitely a very clear plan.
Well, I mean, if Elise is up at this point, all these other powerful champions are taken out, and with Olaf and Syndra permanently, globally banned right now due to some bugs that those champions are experiencing, you're going to take that Elise just because she's pretty much the most versatile jungler that you could hope for.
Okay, so, well, it was going to be maybe Vayne Sona. Will it still be? The Sona already locked in for Song. And so Prey and Song going to be playing Vayne and Sona. Prey and Song. It's weird to think about them as bot lane. It
definitely is.
Yeah. Very
bizarre.
bizarre.
The other interesting thing that Najin Blacksword did was lock in their AD carry and support immediately, which means that Samsung Blue can safely choose their duo lane if they so desire right now, which is interesting because you think they would want to hide those picks considering they banned Lucian themselves, and they are hiding those picks. So I wonder what the logic behind Najin Blacksword picking those champions up so early is, because I think it really just gave Samsung Blue more flexibility in the draft.
Well, they decided to use that to pick up Shyvana and Orianna.
Well, again, the Shyvana-Wombo combo still alive and well. You've got a way to get the ball into the back line with Elise also. So
I'd love to see Victor, but
about as standard as we can expect from the current state of affairs here in Korea.
Oh, wow, look at that. Rengar and Nunu picked up. Okay.
Watch played Nunu a lot at the World Championship. We know it's a team pick. It always has been for Najin because Nofei is that's pretty much his go-to jungler.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of champion pick overlap between Sword and Shield.
Ooh, if we actually see the LeBlanc pickup, and you'd have to think it's probably, it would be a support LeBlanc, obviously, but.
Yeah, very interesting. So their Graves may be the secret weapon right here. Something they were planning on doing. No, Ezreal Fiddle, probably more standard.
Yeah.
But, well, we'll have to wait and see. Rengar has been picking up steam here in Korea. We saw Shy become a split-pushing monster on that champion just a few days ago. And Insect tried to play it as well against Samsung Blue, in fact, and didn't really have much of an effect on the game. And
Ezreal Fiddlesticks.
I mean, this is an all-in composition with Fiddlesticks coming in alongside Shyvana and Elise. They've got a lot of AoE damage right up front there for a 5v5 team fight.
That they do. And they've got a lot of ways to keep people in it, too.
I mean, right here, one would think that it would be surprising to see Zed. I would like to see the Gragas pick here, just because if you can separate people for Rengar, and actually it's going to be Jace.
Well, I mean, it's an old Najin Sword specialty, but that was when Song played mid lane. And, yeah, well, I guess that's just how it's going to be.
this is a weird composition. So in this case, Gragas, of course, the Gragas-Oriana matchup often thought of as favorable for Gragas post 6 if you're going to make plays. But if you have Gragas here and a blood-boiled Vayne, you can split people up in order to have Rengar and Vayne focus down and deal the maximum amount of damage in small 1v1 fights. So the Jace pickup is a little weird.
It really doesn't seem like the poke is going to help them a whole lot.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, they have the acceleration gate if they're concerned about kiting out of an all-in by Samsung Blue, but I don't foresee this going particularly well for Sword.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, everything will be decided in the game, I mean, before that, it's all educated speculation, and it is so weird to see Song as support. Really came out of nowhere.
Well, his skills will certainly be tested tonight.
Indeed, and here we go, guys. The game is loading up. The first game between Najin Black Sword and Samsung Blue here on Champions Winter. Let's get in the game. Go, guys. Game number 1, Group B, Set 1, Samsung Blue versus Najin Black Sword. Here on Champions Winter, Doan Monte Cristo and Najin Sword fielding something a bit strange.
Yeah, watch starting with a Doran's Blade on Nunu as well.
3 Dorans on that team overall.
Yeah, we don't see that very often. Double cleanse on Peng and Prey to deal with Fiddlesticks, but this actually puts a lot of pressure onto Prey to perform this game because they're going to be slippery. They're going to be difficult to catch, and they can kite and disengage very successfully with Nunu and Sona ultimates and the acceleration gate. But Prey has to kite really well and make sure, absolutely 100% sure, that he doesn't get caught.
Yeah.
Because if he dies, pretty much Najin Sword's hopes of winning will go with him. I'm worried about this.
It's interesting. Got some deep wards down in the jungle, and then immediately recalled. We'll see where the lanes get sent to. They'll get back just in time for the minions to spawn.
Yeah, they're going around to help right now with this blue buff. Looks like Deft and Hard probably want to go into a 2v1. Of course, Fiddlesticks, it allows you to take the turret a lot faster. You just fear somebody.
Yeah.
And then make them unable to defend their tower. And especially, you think against a Rengar, but I don't think they're going to be getting that 2v1 because it looks like we're going to see some sort of swap right here. Or both teams maybe doing a jungle follow. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what's going to go on. So sharing a little bit of that XP.
Yep. A little bit safer of an opening there.
Yeah, and right there, they're going to just hand over the Wolves to Expression before sending him into the top lane.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right. So Peng on Jace, not a champion we saw a whole lot. There were those tier nerfs. And it looks like we've got a bit of a pause too.
Well, we're seeing a lot more Jace bans these days, and it just
He
goes part and parcel with just the strength of Siege in general, and he just magnifies a team's ability to siege. If you already have something like, an Oriana or a Gragas or a Nidalee, he just adds more poke.
He does. And the tier nerf, I mean, it hurt him, but it didn't make him bad. It just made him not completely broken.
Yeah. More situational, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. So, we'll see what the problem is. We'll get it fixed. And then we'll be back in the game before you know it.
Yeah, I wonder if the Jace pickup was a comfort champion for Peng, at least in the Oriana matchup as well, because he's going to have a pretty easy ability to farm right here.
This is kind of his debut, so you gotta think the nerves are going to be a little bit higher for Peng today.
Of course, always hard to gank Jace as well.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be probably too many openings for Spirit unless he finds a particularly good opportunity or Peng makes a bit of a mistake.
And Peng leaving the game, so something going on there.
Yeah, interestingly, right now on our screen, we see that Acorn is doing a pretty intense follow right now alongside Spirit and sharing XP. They've cleared both blue and wolves and look like they're going to move to red buff together as well. So we're back in the game.
Yep. There we go. All right. Yeah, everything is fine. Those are some shiny lips. His lip gloss is popping, Monte Cristo.
It's popping. Pawn is popping.
That's right. And watch, can they steal this red buff? No, I don't think so. Acorn coming in a little bit late. A little bit of damage on the pawn. No problems there, so watch does get that red. And he's actually just going to chase Acorn down a bit.
Trading the red buffs right there.
Yeah.
And then the push will just continue in the mid lane as our top laners. Wow, look at this. Acorn going for double golems right now.
Wow.
And Najin Sword dirty farming that wave.
It takes like 3 of the current Najin Sword members to be 1 Mach Noon, apparently.
Expression getting chased out by Spirit right there.
Yeah, a lot of damage on this first turret. They're going to take this one down really quick.
Well, that's the advantage that Blood Boil offers you. So
yeah.
It's a good reaction by Sword, though. They say, hey, we've got the 2v1. We know you can shove our top laner off with that fear. So we're just going to go very aggressive for this turret. Commit watch down there early on. Use that Blood Boil advantage in order to make sure that we get the tower first. And I'd love to see how well Samsung Blue is reacting up in the top lane.
Yeah, hard to say. Looks like they're trying to go for it, too. They have 3-man attack on the turret. Sword will claim theirs first, but Blue not too far to follow. Yeah, 3 minutes and about 48 seconds. They're going to catch Expression. The exhaust helped secure that first blood for Spirit. And that was 2 assists as well.
Nice play there by Samsung Blue to turn on that and try and get the first blood gold out of it as well.
Yeah.
So Pawn gets hit by a snowball, but not much else in that mid lane. The nice thing about the composition from Najin Sword, though, is they do have a Blood Boil and effectively 280 carries. So if one of them dies, at least you have another good target to select for the Blood Boil.
Yeah, very true.
But still no turret death. Yeah, let's take a look at this. While Spirit just jumps on top of Expression. Expression was standing there trying to get experience, actually, off of the dying minions.
Yeah, he was in
good positioning from Hart right there, anticipating the flash over the wall and securing that kill.
Yeah, that ward in the tri-brush really helped out quite a bit.
Tower has gone down in the top lane in the meantime, so that first blood gold will mean a little bit. And also we can see Acorn has actually managed to get CS, and he's currently a level up as well. So he really got the better end of that deal by staying a little longer and farming out the jungle, while Expression was sort of just hanging around, waiting, trying to absorb experience over the wall.
Yep. Oh, he missed that cannon minion, too. That hurts. That's never fun. So Prey versus Acorn for now as Song moves into the river. See if he comes back down to bot lane again.
Yeah, they really need to get control over that dragon now that they have their duo lane staying in the bot.
Yeah.
And so getting that vision will cause Samsung Blue a little bit more anxiety, put a little bit of pressure down there, paying, dodging. That
really putting a lot of pressure on him, and you can tell that they know, he's the new guy. They're going to really try to beat him up a bit in this game, try to get him to make mistakes because of nerves. And you see this a lot. When there's a new player on a team, the other team really tends to kind of camp that lane and focus on him a bit.
Well, Song now coming back down towards that dragon pit, trying to make sure nothing is going on down there, but it's a little bit interesting right now.
Yeah.
In terms of the fact that the AD carries continually to go back into the lanes of the tower sound, and finally we see Deft making his move to join his support player Hart in the bottom lane. And they've given Expression a good chance to get some of this CS back that he was down on earlier, so he is catching up just a little bit there.
Yeah.
But if there's going to be a level 6 dragon play, the timing for Samsung Blue is going to be a little bit better. And Acorn shoving that lane pretty hard, so they will have an opportunity to go for a dragon if Acorn starts to rotate right now.
I will see Acorn getting a little bit caught here. He has to turn and run, gets slowed immediately. Watch coming in between Rengar and Nunu. You are not going to be moving very fast. Acorn still running, though he's got that tankiness. Cuckoo comes in. They do wrap up Watch. Watch force the flash, turning around onto Sword Expression, dodges into the brushes for now, and they manage to escape. Wow.
Yeah, quick turnaround right there. Acorn did overcommit to that just a little bit, but while that happened, the big minion wave pushes all the way to second turret, so Acorn has an opportunity to freely move around the map at this point. He's still not 6, however, and he's going to need that if he wants to really start making some plays.
Very true.
Samsung Blue not making any kind of risky objective calls at this point in time. Not even seemingly too concerned over the Dragon Vision. They haven't contested with a lot of things so far. And in fact, they're much more worried about getting Vision on that top lane and just continuing to shove Expression into his turret. So, you know, in this situation, when you see how well Expression did in the first week of play, even in the loss, they may have identified him as the key player to shut down right here.
Yeah, they're trying to. They have gotten that kill, but still even a little bit up on CS, even on Acorn.
Yeah, well, I mean, with those heavy wards, I mean, wards everywhere, so they clearly want to just minimize his CS and bottle him up there.
Song getting a bit low, and, you know, as a support in pro play, he's a bit untested yet. Don't know a lot about his support play. We'll see how he does.
Well, he's taking a lot of poke right now, but they do have that sustained advantage. So Hart coming in after going ahead, dropping some wards in the river, making sure that this siege will be safe. Def taking a couple of turret hits he didn't really need to right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get, it's tough not to get pushed back to turret by Fiddlesticks lane, and really can't blame them for kind of hanging out under turret for now. Wave will let them push back a little bit.
Oh, look at this. So we now have Expression coming down to help out in this bottom lane. So they've identified the strong push coming in, and they're trying to react to it by making a play here so that they can immediately rotate Dragon afterwards. But, I mean, Deft and Hart just backing right away, and actually Expression just lost a lot of time by doing that.
Wow,
you see him just recalling right in the middle of the lane as he sees them back off, and then he has to head back top because of how hard Acorn is shoving.
Doesn't really help him out too much. And Peng's starting to fall a little bit down in CS, being pushed back under turret. So much this game.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising as well, but he hasn't taken too much tower damage yet. Prey and Song will go ahead and clear out that ward. They've got a pink ward in the brush as well, so they really want to keep eyes on Spirit, make sure that there's not going to be any kind of lane gank or dive situation developing.
Oh yeah.
And it gives them a little bit more presence to focus on pushing out and playing maybe a little bit more risky here. But pretty much measured play from Samsung Blue right now. However, they are certainly dictating the pace of this game at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot that Expression can do. He has managed to pick up the cowl, but not a lot else. Acorn starting with the chain vest, of course, shutting down some of that big Rengar early damage.
Yeah, it's been a long time since AP Rengar was a thing, huh?
Oh, I miss those days.
Oh well. Yep.
Except I don't.
Victory.
Yes, he would just roar himself back to full HP, and you could never stop him from split pushing.
Ah, the good old days, right?
So Champions Winter last year, nearly a year ago.
That's right.
We lived through the AP Rengar days.
A year of Rengar. Sounds like something they'd show on the History Channel or something like that. Ken Burns, A Year of Rengar.
I'd watch it.
Me too.
It'd have a lot of Mach Noon in it, so it'd be quite entertaining.
It's true, yeah. Use that clip from him, like, farming in base and all.
The ultimate Rengaring.
That's right.
That was the pinnacle of Rengar.
Rengard. You got Rengard.
Well, Watch coming down right now. So you can see Spirit is standing on that pink ward, so good call by Najin Sword with their warding here as Song clears out the pit.
Yep.
Watch has to come in order to defend the turret right now.
Yeah, that's right. Prey getting poked a little bit by those Mystic shots. The turret taking a decent amount of damage. Wow, Prey really taking a lot of poke.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, that we see Def going for a blue build right here. We haven't seen a blue build Ezreal here in Korea in quite some time.
Yeah, I was going to say they're pretty few and far between, but it just shows that blue is kind of thinking this one's going to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, they definitely are playing for a longer style of game here based on how they continue to play the lanes.
Yeah.
But they have to be a little bit concerned because we've seen how much of a monster Rengar can be. I mean, if he gets the Spirit Vision Sunfire Cave, yeah, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he's damn tanky. But the really scary thing, as we saw with Shy, is when the Trinity Force comes in after that.
Yeah.
It's just horrifyingly strong in terms of the split push. And there's almost nothing you can do against it. I mean, the Shyvana won't be able to kick him out of lane.
Yeah.
So they need to start getting a little bit worried because now Expression has caught up in CS. And he's starting to slowly make inroads here and get some damage on the turret as well. Acorn getting
Acorn's
quite
pretty
low.
Yeah, he needs to be careful that he doesn't get all in, and he'll back off in Spirit there just in time to hold that lane for him. So that turret should be relatively okay for now. Meanwhile, Watch pulled down yet again in that bot lane, and actually they're going to go in on this. Deft in a little bit of trouble, gets slowed by that snowball. There's a crescendo, just helps secure that kill, and Exhaust down onto Heart, condemning him, and a nice double kill gank for Najin's sword down in that bot lane. That evened up the gold in a hurry.
It certainly did, and they're going to take a lead as well by picking up this dragon.
Yeah.
Deft and Heart were way overcommitted in that lane. It was a pretty easy all-in coming out right there for Najin's sword, and a nice crescendo from Song, so showing that he's got some skills.
Oh, airballed the shockwave. That didn't help at all. Can they get the dragon? No, not quite. Watch smites it just before going down, so type worth for that one. Meanwhile, Peng gets a bit chased, has to pop that cleanse. But they do come away with it with the dragon.
It was a quick rotation there from Acorn after what happened in order to get there in time to at least have some presence in that dragon fight while Expression was back in base. And they got a kill for it at the very least. Still not the kind of trade you want to be making.
Could have been worse. They got something out of it at least. That mid turret still going strong for Najin. Sword for now. Expression going to grab those wraiths. Acorn can't really contest that.
It looks like it will be a Trinity Force onto Ezreal. I had some questions as to whether that Sheen was going to be turned into an Iceborne Gauntlet simply because of the kiting pressure that comes out of Najin's sword. That's something you have to be very concerned with against their composition. And if you can slow that down with Mystic Shot, proccing that item, it could be pretty effective. But instead, he's going to just get the tier early on, having that bit of a CS advantage, and he did have the assist advantage as well early. So he felt safe about not having the combat stats and farming it up.
You know, I suppose when you go for that tier of the Sheen too, it gives you the option to choose later on in the game which direction you want to go. Makes it a little bit more versatile. Now Spirit getting caught again, has to repel, comes down onto the minions. Can he escape? No, doesn't look like it. And Sword again. That bot lane is just not a place you want to be if you're Samsung Blue.
Well, Samsung Blue is overextending here left and right, and it's not even really hard for Najin Sword to make these plays because Watch is just walking into the lane and killing people with Prey. I mean, this is just underperformance from Samsung Blue right here, as they don't have enough vision to justify their play in the bot lane.
Yeah, when a Yeti walks up and hits you in the face with a snowball, you really should have seen that coming. That's not something that you can kind of miss. It's not exactly like we've got like the winter theme going on in Summoner's Rift. I mean, he's this big white thing on a green field. It's not too hard.
Well, it's also dangerous, though, because Spirit has opted to go for the Sork Shoes first, so he can output a lot of damage, but, of course, that makes him quite squishy as well.
Yeah.
So it is subjecting him to some deaths here, or a death, rather, in that case, as Nunu is naturally so tanky that it can be problematic if you can't out-duel him or outlast him at the very least.
Yeah. Well, Spirit not afraid of the bot lane at all. Just clearing out some wards there, or looking to clear out wards anyway with that Oracle's Elixir.
Meanwhile, I mean, we haven't really touched on this because not a lot has happened, but Pawn has 193 CS at 16 and a half minutes. So that is incredibly impressive in terms of a CS score, and it's already led to a rapid Athene's Unholy Grail and a needlessly large on top of that before 17 minutes.
Even with only one assist.
Really dangerous right now. And, of course, that's followed right up by Peng nearly matching him. So, farm for farm, things going quite well for both teams in the mid lane.
And speaking of the mid lane, we do have Song there again. They've been leaving Prey alone quite a bit in the spot lane, allowing Song to roam a bit more. And this is definitely something that you wouldn't see if Kane was still in there.
Yeah, Prey and Kane usually stuck pretty darn closely side by side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Condemn on depth. Actually, Prey chasing him down. Is he going to die for this? He is. Two-shot barrage and a turret shot coming through, and Prey gets away. What a play. Make a play, the Prey.
And there we go.
Peng
takes down. Wow, Pawn there as they managed to find him in the jungle, and the pushing just continuing from Najin Sword.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're just winning the lane so hard right now that they don't have to be worried about the composition that they're running because Prey is just playing this beautifully.
Yeah, 3-0-1 already. Has that Blade of the Ruined King and the Zeal finished.
Well, that's the danger, too, that you run. If you want to go with this blue build Ezreal, it delays your Trinity Force. You don't have immediate combat stats.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a big power spike for Prey with the Blade of the Ruined King. Prey just coming in, using the chase potential from Vayne with that Blood Boil. And there we go, tumbling in, flashing right out. And
look
right at that. Pawn
barrage.
just gets sandwiched right there. Has a decent shockwave in order to make up for it to chunk his opponents, but a nice pink ward allows that pick to happen.
A lot of flashes used there. Prey's like, what does the scouter say about my power level? I think it's pretty high today.
It does look quite high.
All right, well, that's given Najin Sword about a 3,000 gold lead, and Expression going to probably be able to pick up this top turret as well, which is going to give them a 2-turret lead at this point.
And again, this is Expression style. You see him just shove, 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 shove.
Yep.
For, the entire game. And eventually, he's going to stack up that CS. You can see he's already gotten above Acorn now after being quite far behind in the early game.
Yeah. All the action in the mid lane now. The only tier 1 turret that Sword hasn't taken out quite yet. And Deft having an uncharacteristic rough game at 0-2-1. Did just finish his Trinity Force, so that's nice for him. But
one thing we can say about Sword, though, is that they are just much more bold right here.
Yeah.
You do see them making plays that you wouldn't have seen them make last week, and maybe part of that's due to Song. I mean, Song's roaming style has allowed plays to be made on the map, and there's some good calling going on in terms of when they're going to go all in, if they're going to turret dive, and it's been quite measured, and they're going to be right here as the dragon pops up. Watch with the Oracle, not going to see the ward in the back of the pit.
Well, Samsung Blue wants to do something about this, getting poked a bit by that shock blast. Here comes Spirit coming in, throws the cocoon, doesn't get anybody with it though. And Sword may turn on this. We'll see. They're thinking about it. Spirit about half health. Here comes Rengar Expression over the top. And they get at least almost immediately a four-man shockwave comes in from Pawn. Gets Sword very low, and Blue may be able to just barely turn this one around. They do, and Sword is on the run. Acorn trying to chase down Watch, gets slowed up by that snowball.
Yeah,
Ray will escape, but what a turnaround.
Yeah, dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah, that was all Pawn's positioning right there. They were very patient. I mean, Sword did the right thing right there where they poked down before they went all in, but you can see how strong Pawn has managed to get with this CS.
Seriously.
And they'll get themselves a turret forward and regroup, and then they can recontest Dragon once their ultimates are back up. But
wow.
Yeah, that was a good call by Sword. You know, they had nearly killed Spirit. Spirit blew up immediately after the Rengar engage. So he's already down to below 50% HP right here by the time Expression comes in. But Hart already in the middle right there, and this is what won it. A four-man shockwave. Depth gets a lot of time to open up as well. Forces a lot of flashes to avoid the true shot barrage also.
Oh, another fight at Dragon right now. Sword did just pick it up. We didn't see it on the screen, but there's the disengage. So Sword was able to come back and grab the dragon. After all that, they maintain a 4,000 gold lead, but it really does show you that you got to be really, really careful around that Orianna.
Well, the 4K gold lead isn't going to be a whole lot just because Samsung Blue has such synergy with their composition. And they've delayed some of their items in order to go for, again, that late game style of play. And once this Ezreal gets the Muramana, it's going to be quite scary. That said, Peng already has the last whisper. I mean, they have to be very careful about getting hit by that poke. So it's Samsung Blue needs to find a way to all in their opponent as rapidly as possible because they can't afford to take a couple shock blasts because Najin's sword will simply roll them.
Yeah. Expression on our screen right now, trying to farm as fast as he can. He's very close to that Sunfire Cape, and once he picks that up, he's going to start to get extremely tanky, extremely scary.
Yeah, Deft really needs some more farm right now. They should be giving him as much free empty lane farm as possible. He's going to catch the wave right there in the bottom, but you know there's not a turret down there, a tier 2 turret down there anymore, so Expression is a bit of a threat.
Yeah.
See how little damage he's doing right now.
Yeah. Well, Def trying to farm as much as he can. Let's see if he continues. Pray. And Watch actually up in that top lane.
This is smart of them to try and set up a pick right there, but Prey is not going to fall into that bait. Too many unknowns on the map right now. Najin Sword grouping up by Baron, clearing out, getting that control, but Samsung Blue, they're waiting. They're waiting for them to try and put some wards down in the jungle. Pawn is right there, ready to rotate. Najin Sword not having any of it, however.
Yeah, some pings going down. We saw it on the minimap, didn't see it on the screen, but someone from Blue tossed a ward out right when Song was there, so he knew they were in the jungle. Immediately some pings went down, and nobody falling for that one. Everyone from Sword backing off.
And now they have to put that Acorn back into the bottom lane to go against Rengar. Does have the advantage of having the Sunfire Cape first, so may be able to out-push Expression at this phase.
Could be, yeah, but Expression's got to be close to his own Sunfire Cape. We'll see. He's going to just chase Acorn down, I guess, a little bit. He's got that intimidation factor, you know?
Well, nobody's actually going to be killing each other in that solo, so just don't want to take any kind of unnecessary damage, especially if you're Shyvana, because you don't have the same kind of sustain that Expression's going to have.
Yeah.
They keep trying to make a play on Prey here in top, but Najin Sword playing things very cautiously.
That they are.
Not taking any risks while they don't have any wards in the upper half of the blue jungle from Samsung Blue.
Man, Expression just not afraid at all of Acorn. Yeah, not taking really any damage from that.
No, nobody's really going to be taking any damage. Okay, push coming out again. The saving grace right now for Samsung Blue is they do have their mid lane turret up, so that's giving them a lot of control, and it's preventing Prey from really doing anything right here. He's able to farm up a little bit, but he's not able to get any kind of turret damage or exert any real pressure. They can't get into ward at the moment. Expression's doing what he can, drawing Acorn back down into the bottom lane again. Wow, Deathcap now finished on Pawn as well.
Man, he's going to do so much damage. There's a turret.
They got the mid turret, so
they did. That's kind of big.
That's going to be huge for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, so far, that really allows Sword to put a lot of pressure on this Baron area, and you can see him heading up there right away already.
They can do Baron
Are they going to go for it?
They can do it so fast right now. It's actually terrifying.
They
have to check it with True Shot Barrage. They're going to see that they're hiding. But it was a smart play because, of course, with the Blade and Vayne and how farmed Peng is, they can burst down that Baron quite quickly.
Yeah.
Nunu, of course, there to help as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Expression on the hunt right now. He's coming in. He's getting sped up by the acceleration gate. Has to back off, though they didn't quite get there in time. So, unfortunately, an ult used there for nothing. Prey has to back off. Got a lot of gold to spend at the moment, about 1,500. What's he going to pick up? He's going to finish that Phantom Dancer off, it looks like, and pick up a few things.
And the gold is right where they want it to be, too. Now we see Peng and Prey just enough ahead of their lane opponents, so they've got the gold on the carries. They should be feeling good about that. Peng now has already fully charged his Muramana.
Wow.
And we don't see the same thing from Deft yet. Of course, getting the Manamune a little bit later. But he should be getting close. Wow, Peng just goes up and completes the Black Cleaver. This is getting scary just in terms of sheer itemization on this Jace. He's going to hit like a truck.
Yeah, with 308 CS at 26 minutes, N101. He's got to have an unbelievable gold per minute right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Well, everybody returning into the mid lane. This is just looking dire, and, got to hand it to Najin's Sword. They won their lanes extremely hard in this game.
Yeah, they did.
And opened up a lot of possibilities here. And it was mostly due to Watch's all-ins with Prey in that bottom lane. And just some poor overextension and then poor rotations from Samsung Blue, leaving them open to those picks from Najin's Sword.
And Peng just getting that lane to start pushing again before he recalls. Only about a 5,000 gold lead, but yeah, the gold's on all the right people. And it looks like Samsung Blue going to try for this dragon, and they'll be able to get it no problem. But I don't think Sword is too concerned about allowing this to happen right now.
Well, that's going to be very important for them, though, because it keeps them at least in contention in this game.
Yeah, Blue needed it.
So Bone Tooth Necklace down on Expression. Looks like we will be seeing a similar build as to what Shy pulled out.
Yep.
On Wednesday.
Neo Rengar.
Neo Rengar.
That's right.
Once that Trinity Force starts coming in, oh boy, that's going to be trouble. And Acorn with the Randuin's Omen right here, trying to slow down the attack damage composition from Najin's Sword. Smart buy. Well, and that's the thing though, is that there's no AP on Najin's Sword's comp. So perhaps if this game can go long enough and they can get enough armor items, Samsung Blue may be able just to outlast and then use that single damage type against them.
It's time to buy some Thorn Mail, Monte Cristo.
I'm sure that's Shyvana may be gunning for that next.
Good old Thorn Mail. You don't get a lot of hugs wearing Thorn Mail.
Obviously, this Jace already prepared for that possibility with the immense amount of armor penetration that he's acquired. So even Shyvana, even as tanky as her passive makes her, even with the Randuins and Sunfire, still probably going to be taking some pretty significant chunks from Peng.
Sure enough, and look at this, Najin's Sword going for this sneaky Baron attempt, but Spirit. They're going to check it. That's right, this may not work too well. They have to flash out. And now Baron at about half health. Yeah, they can't really finish it. Spirit taking a lot of damage from that shock blast. Gonna take the blue buff.
Spirit's just not built for this. He was built to deal damage in the early game, but he never really had an opportunity to use his items.
A little bit of damage put onto Acorn. And, that's got to really scare Blue, too, because they saw how low Baron was already. And if they hadn't decided to check that, that would have been a pretty easy Baron for Sword.
Okay, well, Muramana now finished onto Deft as well. And he'll be feeling a lot better once he can get his last Whisper and match up right now. But you can see he is a little bit behind Prey even still. But Samsung Blue has done a good job of waiting this out. They stopped the Baron. They forced 2 flashes over it. They haven't been overextending since the early game. And the kill count remains at only 10 here in 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's been a very low kill game, but it's been pretty intense.
Now, Samsung Blue is intelligently waiting this one out. I think that I agree with this decision wholeheartedly. In this situation, they know they have the better late game team fight synergy. Well, so they can pull it out. If they can pull it out for another 15 minutes without 10-15 minutes without endangering themselves or losing any other major objectives like Baron, they can come back into this. Oh man.
What?
One shock blast.
That is a shocking blast right there.
Taking Heart down to less than half health.
Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, as far as delaying it, we've seen what a good ultimate from Pawn can do.
The flip side to that, though, is Expression isn't going to slow down. As he starts getting those damage items, no one's going to be able to stop him from split pushing.
Yeah.
And so it's going to force Samsung Blue into an attempt at a 5v4 all-in. And they may have to base race for it, honestly.
It's not as if, Vayne and Jace are low damage in the late game, too. So.
Right.
There's a lot of significant stuff there. I think a little bit low. He's going to take his anger out on the Rude dudes.
That's where I take my anger out.
That's right. Right on those Rude dudes and their blue leader.
They're just so rude, though.
They are. That's why they need to pay.
Yeah, look at this expression already. Just chipping away at Acorn right here. His sustain so much better.
Yep. And a rotation up towards the jungle in the top lane. Some more wards. And that's going to pull blue up because they need to make sure that there's no Baron going on.
Well, this is Najin's sword is putting Samsung Blue in a very uncomfortable position right now. They can't stop the split push. Rengar now coming up, and they're trying to create picks. Najin's sword trying to create picks everywhere, trying to sneak that Baron. They're just waiting for the moment of weakness where Samsung Blue doesn't counter.
Oh, nice crescendo! Look at that, Deft and Heart just torn apart. Double kill for Prey already. Good absolute zero zones up. Some of the members of Blue, and Sword just tearing apart. Triple kill already for Play as he comes back. He's going for the Quadra. Gets it onto Spirit. Can they slow him down? Can they give Prey this pentakill? It's going to take a long time to kill Acorn, but another snowball. Prey going for it. And there it is, the pentakill for Prey.
Amazing pentakill right there, coming in and cleaning up. They got into the back line, but Najin's sword with the individual outplay, and that will certainly mean a Baron for them as well.
Well, that woke everybody up. Yeah, it's going to be an easy Baron now for Sword, and they may ride that Baron straight to victory. Not literally, but figuratively with the bow.
And this Doa is a much more decisive Sword. Look at what happened this game. Their play calling is so much clearer than it was previously. They tried tricking their opponents multiple times.
Watch this.
Eventually,
Beautiful
walking
game.
through the ward, get both Deft and Hard, just slam Deft into the ground with the power slam. Now right here, Pawn's going to get a crescendo on two members, and this, you can see how much damage he's doing, will lead to their deaths as Pawn able to come over the back. But Acorn right here, overcommits to that kill, and Prey is just, meanwhile, 1v1ing everybody as they chase too deep. Najin's sword just having a better team fight, and some mistakes in terms of decision making made from Samsung Blue. They didn't have a lot of choice. They were trying to get who they could after just getting slammed by that crescendo.
Yeah.
But great pick set up from Najin's sword right there.
Prey picks up the Guardian Angel, and he is looking pretty strong right now.
Well, you got to hand it to Sword. You know, they didn't have the best team composition, I don't feel, in terms of having that 5v5 team fight, but they got ahead and they just out-mind gamed their opponents. They got the control over the Baron area. They held onto it. They repeatedly tried different tactics, waiting for Samsung Blue to make the mistake. They finally caught them with their pants down, and that's enough in League of Legends, you know. Sometimes that's all you need is to win that vision war right now in this patch before, of course, we see all those changes in the preseason patch, and they're doing a good job.
Yep, and those towers are dying pretty fast right now. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot that Samsung Blue can do to stop that. They do take Dragon, but they are going to need to win a pretty extreme fight. In fact, Def stole Dragon with True Shot Barrage, I believe, right there. Yeah, he did. Yeah, look at the cooldown. And he was also in his base when he got Dragon, so that's a pretty good clue that he stole it.
Yeah, and there's the 8K gold difference, though, and Prey is just going to solo anybody and everybody right now.
Oh, Spirit. Wow. Yeah, Prey is just this unstoppable monster right now.
This is inspiring, Doa, because Prey really didn't have a terrific first week. He looked shaky on Lucian, but
he did.
10-0-1. He is certainly turning things around today.
Yep. Going back to a champion that him and a lot of other carriers are comfortable with here in Korea. Gets hit with that Mystic shot, and it's kind of like, Deft, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that?
Well, we got to enjoy our Vayne play while we can, because we're not going to see very much of her after the preseason patch nerfs.
I don't think so. Oh, man, Deft's so lucky he didn't get condemned into a turret, but Prey took a lot of damage right there, too.
Deft is no slouch either. You can see he's got a ton of high damage items right now.
He does indeed. Whoa! Wow, Prey with the flash manages to maneuver his way into a win for that duel. Watch was there to help out, of course. But there's just no stopping Prey, man. He's 11-0-1.
I'm so impressed with what Najin Sword has done tonight. You know, they exhibited a depth of strategy and a reactive play style that has been lacking. And this is what we said. This team on paper, their individual skill. If we look at some of these names, by God, are these players good?
Yeah.
But they haven't been tricky enough. They haven't outsmarted their opponents as a team. They haven't had that decision making.
Oh, here we go. Coming in, especially jumps on the pond. This is crescendo over the top, and Hart in the back line really in trouble. I have never seen a team die as fast. Well, actually, I have, but they died pretty fast too. Goodbye, Spirit. And Sword cleans up another easy fight. The party has ended for Samsung Blue. Deft returns just in time, but just in time to surrender. GG, and Sword takes a pretty convincing game number 1 off the back of a pentakill from Prey.
Gotta hand it to him. Sword played very well.
Yeah, they did.
In that game across the board, and they turned those early kills onto Prey into an unstoppable juggernaut. And of course, that's what you don't want to do if you're Samsung Blue. You don't want to give the blood-boiled Vayne 4-0-1 kills.
13-0-2 at the end of that game.
13-0-2.
Yep, and 316 CS on top of that too.